Welcome to the follow-up video of Philosophies and Theories Season 1, Episode 3, Part 1. There was a few things that I missed in the previous episode. The first thing was obviously the way that level of government works. The way that level of government works is people are picked at random. Obviously, I did say that. They're all entered into a lottery. So basically, if your district has 80 people, usually districts are divided by population within the city control limits. The city that you live in is controlling, or basically has oversight over the districts within that city's control area. So whatever your voting district is, whatever city it presides in, that's the city that controls or oversees your district. Now, this isn't to say that you or the people in your district cannot overthrow the district people as well. You can, as long as you have a majority. Every level of government, you have to have a majority. Every decision that you make for whatever level, it's decided at your local level. So, like for instance, I'm going off topic here, but we'll stick with what we were saying here. So you're picked at random. So, like, if your voting district has 80 people and the next district has 80 people, usually it's divided by population, kind of close or kind of equal. Next one might have like 85 or 90. It might be just a few more, but it won't matter then. So your district, let's say it has 80 people. Each district will be picked. So some cities might have 12 districts, some cities might have 100 districts. It just depends within the city. Now, you might say, well, what about like big cities like Chicago or Minneapolis? They got things called suburbs. Now, suburbs have their own basically city control limits. Suburbs are going to be separate from their mother cities, I'll call them. So technically they will have different things, but still, if for instance you live in Chicago or Minneapolis or something like that, not only is, like, let's say for instance Minneapolis is not only a large city, but it happens to be the capital. So at different levels, it's going to be different. So you have, if you live, like, let's say you live in a suburb of Minneapolis. So you live in Minneapolis, or you live in St. Paul, because St. Paul is actually a suburb of Minneapolis. So let's say you live there, and your local district votes, and then it goes to the city, and then that city is different from, obviously, the capital. But let's say you do live within the capital. Okay, so within the capital, you're going to have different levels. You're going to have different diamond seats. Or diamond sets, I'm sorry, excuse me. You're going to have one for your district. You're going to have another one for the city or town. Then you'll have a different one for the county, if it is a county seat. I'm not entirely too sure. And then you'll have one for the county, or the Irish county, and then one for the state. So each one will be separate from the other. Okay. Each person is picked at random. It doesn't matter on your district or who gets picked. Majority of people will choose at each level, and you can overthrow at each level as long as you have the majority. Shit, I forgot what I said earlier. Okay, so for instance, so each level is different. And then obviously quadrant. If it happens to be that the city or town that you preside in is not only the city, your voting district, the city or town in which you live, the county seat, the state capital, and the quadrant capital, then it will have five different buildings for each level of government. Okay. So yeah, it will depend. Now at your local area, I talked about the diamond guards and stuff like that. The diamond guards are there to help. They are not there to render. They are not there to hurt any process of the democracy. They're there to help provide the information that is needed, or help provide whatever is needed for the people within the district, or within the county, or within the city, or blah blah blah, to help the people make a decision at that level. Each level will make a decision for the next, to see if it goes on to the next level. At your local level, you might say, something, and it might only, okay, it'll go through your district. Okay, let's say for instance, everybody votes in favor of it, so it goes through your district, and then it'll go to the city, and then the city will say, okay, we want, we've had this district come to us and tell us that they would like this, and they've already passed it at their local level. Okay, now we're going to dispute it amongst all the other districts within our city limits and see what they think. Now all the districts are going to make a decision based upon that, and then that level will go to the city level. So the city level will then be like, okay, a majority rule, let's say a majority rules over this decision. Now the city senate decides, okay, now do we keep it within the city, or do we need to bring it up a level? So they will vote on it. They'll say, okay, do we need to bring this up to the county? And if it's voted majority wins, then it goes on. So then the next level would obviously be the state. So it'll bring it, like let's say that county brought it up, so it's going to bring that county, or that county passed it with a majority, with all the cities adjoining, with a majority. Then it goes to the state. So then the state says, okay, well, we got, let's say for instance we got 52 counties within our county seat, or within our state. So we need to distribute this amongst the counties, so that way they can decide if it needs to be brought to the next level. So all the counties, they dispute it against all the counties, and all the counties decide this. They say, okay, yeah, we would like it to go to the next level. So they pass it, and the state passes it, obviously, not only at the state level, but now it is also going to the next level. The state governments are still separate from the national government, but they still have to report to the national government. So anyways, that state will say, okay, that's, now we gotta go to the quadrant. Now it depends on the quadrant that you live in. Some quadrants might have more states than others. Some quadrants might have less states than others. or whatever have you. Some quadrants might have more population by, I don't know, a couple 100,000, maybe 1,000, I don't know. But they will be try to divide them equally. Um, Obviously, there'll be different ones. The quadrants are usually, they can be based on two different things. They can be based on basically off of Star Trek. And there's alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. Or it could be north, south, east, and west. Or it could be like northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest, something like that. Um, let's see here. Okay, and then, anyways, all the states are put onto that. Okay, like I was saying, every quadrant, or every quadrant has a certain amount of states in it. So there might be 10 states in one quadrant, there might be 15, there might be 5. So it really will depend upon population or simply landmass too. So anyways, that each state will, or the state within that quadrant will, say, hey, we got something here that might need to, go to the next level here. So then the quadrant will divide it amongst all the states within the quadrant. All the states within the quadrant will then vote unanimously, obviously, and say, yes, we approve this to go to the next level. Okay, now the next level is quadrant. Or, I'm sorry, not quadrant, but nation. Again, at the national level, all the quadrants will join together, or that quadrant will join together and say, hey, Mr. Leaders of the true democracy, hey, we got, this law, or this thing that we passed at our district or our quadrant level. I'm sorry, and we'd like to bring it to the nation, and we would then the leaders would say, okay, well, we're going to divide it amongst the quadrants. So then they would divide, say, okay, this quadrant, same thing, this quadrant, same thing, this quadrant, same thing. And then they would all join together, right, in a special Senate meeting it's called the Diamond Senate, the actual Diamond Senate, the National Diamond Senate. Okay, and then all the quadrants are going to join together, as well as the representatives that they have picked at random, and they will be there, and these people are at every level of government. So, like, your city level is going to pick one person from each district. Now, I know some cities might have 36 districts. Some people might have, 100 districts or whatever. That isn't going to matter, because the town. Okay, sorry about that. That each level of the government, there's one person selected at random. So, even though, the city is going to divide the districts. Your voting district might not be the same as it is, in this democracy. Excuse me. It's going to be divided among population. So some districts might be rather large, some might be very small. I showed that one diagram, and you can tell that there is a small one in there. That's to represent that there could be a very small district. There could be ones, very big. There could be ones you know, that are, you know, kind of in between. They might, you know, they might go inside the city and then partly outside the city. You know, it all depends on population. So that's why we said that. So, you know, depends on that. So one person is picked at random through the people within the district to represent for the city. So one person is selected. Now that person is to represent his or her district. So if that one person, you know, like let's for instance say, oh, you know, I'm not gonna vote for this, you know, at the district level, and then they were overruled because the majority always overrules everything within this government. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter, you know, oh, I should have special interest because I'm religious or I'm, you know, whatever have you. No, it doesn't work that way. But this person, let's say, was like against it. But nonetheless, your name is still thrown in the lottery with everybody else. So this one person is picked to go to the city or state to represent his and her district. Okay, so so-and-so says, well, I didn't want this in the first place, so I'm just going to say, I don't know what they're talking about. It is then the Diamond Guard's responsibility to step up and say, Mr. or Mrs. whoever, the leader of the mayor, obviously, this person is lying. They are disrepresenting their his or her district. They are not telling the truth. That our district has passed such and such thing, and I have proof. I have notes, and also, you know, obviously it'll be videotaped and everything else of the official meeting. This person is misrepresenting our district. So you know, then they'll be like, okay, so this person will then be obviously overthrown. They will dismiss that Senate for that day because obviously that one person's gonna, you know, disrepresent their district. So then they're gonna be overthrown, and then it's going to be picked at random again, and then they'll pick somebody else. No, this person might be different. So then this person is picked, and then they go on, or then they go on to the city. Now the city, obviously, is going to have, you know, a whole bunch of probably districts within the city. So everybody within that city is going to be picked to go whatever, you know, cities are controlled in the county. All the cities are going to pick one person out of their people that are in their district. So they're going to pick one person. Now some counties might have, you know, 8 cities. Some counties might have, you know, 10 cities or towns. Some, you know, counties might have 3. You know, I'm not really entirely sure. But remember, suburbs are separate. Okay, so one person is selected, so from each city or town. So then it moves on. Okay. Now, at the county level, you know, they're going to say, you know, okay, you know, it goes on. So now, all the counties within the nation, one is picked at random. So, you know, there might be, you know, like I said, like 5 people. So one of them is going to be picked to go to represent that county at the state level. So there might be, you know, 50 people at the next level, at the state Diamond Senate, is what it's called. So there's, you know, there's going to be quite a few people there at the state level. So again, they're going to say, okay, we're going to pass it. Now all the people that are there from each counties are going to be like, okay, you know, they're going to pick, you know, that person. And each person then is going to, you know, it's going to be picked at random, and one person is going to be picked from that group of people. One person is going to be picked to represent the state. Now that one person goes on to the next level, which would be the quadrant. Now each quadrant has its own form of government. State is still separate, still has its own constitution, still has its own rules, laws, whatever have you. The quadrant is part of the nation, obviously. So then it goes on to the quadrant. So one person is selected at random to represent his or her state within the quadrant. So then they don't decide, and you know, like I said before, there might be 10 states, there might be 5 states within a quadrant. So then one person is picked for each quadrant to go on to the next level. The next level then is obviously the national level, which is the actual Diamond Guard, or Diamond Senate. So then the Diamond Senate is then, you know, each person, they go around and they say, okay, you know, we need to pass this at the local level. We need to bring this to the highest form of our government. And obviously, then it's passed. Alright. And that's pretty much all the explaining I wanted to do for this. If you guys have any more questions or comments or whatever, please put them below. I won't care one bit to answer any questions or comments you might have regarding this true democracy. So, together we can change humankind and improve ourselves. Please like and comment below. Thank you.